See me? Oh my gosh, we're live.
We're live.
Woo!
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Thank you
yo.
for joining our second Dr. Talbot's Biblic Holocaust Memorial Week event. I have with me today Dr. Sandi Towers-Romero. She is a professor of first-year experience in paralegal studies here at FSW. She's been with the college for 21 years, and she's also the faculty advisor of the Legal Studies Club, which will be doing a book reading this week as a part of our events. But I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sandi Towers.
Hi, how are you doing, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, today we are going to be discussing Auschwitz-Birkenau as it appears today. And it's a moving experience actually being there. When you enter, this is entering Auschwitz. And welcome, thank you so much everyone for coming today. It means Arbeit macht frei, which means work will make you free. This was the theme. And in a way, it would be true. Either they worked you to death or killed you right away if you were entering, or the experimentation on you, or if a few that are lucky, and we do have our survivors talks, actually made it out. But this was the theme, work will make you free. This is inside of Auschwitz. These were electrified fences, and they're on both sides. This is how the prisoners were led through. There were guards. There were guards on the sides of the fences as well, with German Shepherd dogs, or as the French say, Alsatians, because they don't like to use the word German. So it was terror. It was complete terror all the time. Whether you were walking, going to wherever you needed to go, or see further on, also things that happened. Now, this was the orchestra. This is a picture of a picture. Please realize some of the things I took pictures of, I did it because of the fact we weren't allowed to take pictures of everything in respect to the people that were in Auschwitz. I will also see Birkenau, which is a sister camp, and we'll see that as we look at Auschwitz. The camp orchestra played as the prisoners walked by. It kept them in step, and what that did, it moved them along, and also it allowed for easier counting, because every day the prisoners were counted. Okay, now this is what happened if they counted and someone was not there. Now you're probably thinking, how did they count? By name? No, by number. I have, during my time I spent up in the Catskills of New York, I would see people with the A and the numbers on their arms, or the G and the numbers on your arms. A for Auschwitz, D for Dachau. And everyone was tattooed a number on their arm, those that survived, air quote. Now, if they were not in line and they escaped, what would happen is the entire family would be arrested and sent to Auschwitz. And they were made to stand under a sign announcing the reason for their arrest, and they would stay in the camp until the escaped prisoner was found. And this was, again, an aspect of terror. You'll notice all the signs are in Polish, English, and Hebrew. Okay. All right. This is one of the courtyards of Auschwitz, and these were all either barrack buildings or buildings where medical experimentation was done. Block number 10 was Joseph Mengele's block, and we'll take a look at the outside of that. And Joseph Mengele was the doctor, the Nazi doctor, that did experimentation on the prisoners. Okay. Now, you'll notice there's grass, and you'll notice there's trees. That was not there during the World War II. Again, a closer view of the guardhouse and a closer view of the fence. If any of you have been to the Adult Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, they have a section of the Auschwitz fence. Okay. Here it shows how the prisoners they had to stand at attention for hours, sometimes several hours, sometimes dozens of hours, as roll call was being done. Again, if anyone was missing, immediately it would be noted, and their family would be arrested. Okay, this would be in rain, snow, 40-degree below zero weather. Remember, this is Poland, and Poland has some very severe winter weather. So, anyways, I want to see a map of exactly where this is very shortly, as far as where Auschwitz-Birkenau and Clausewitz is. Okay, here it is right here. This is Auschwitz. Okay, now here's Krakow. Krakow is the closest city to Auschwitz. Auschwitz itself was named after a small town of Auschwitz, and it's right down the road from Auschwitz. It's surrounded by forests, very lovely deciduous trees, and Birkenau is within a mile distance of Auschwitz. Birkenau was actually more of a killing camp. But the people are being sent in from Norway. This is Oslo, Norway, from Denmark, from the Netherlands, from France, from Germany. We have even from Italy and all the way down to Turkey. Here's Turkey down here. And this is the old Yugoslavia right now, at that point in time. Now, of course, it's Croatia and Bosnia, Herzegovina, so on and so forth. But this was Yugoslavia. Coming in from Vienna, right here. This is Austria. It's also coming in from the Czech Republic. Okay. And also coming in from Russia. This is Russia over here. So people were being sent in from everywhere into Auschwitz. But there's a view of the map. This is actually Eastern Europe, but they were coming in from Western Europe, Northern Europe, and even Southern Europe. And actually, this is Asia in Turkey. Okay. Auschwitz was the largest of the Nazi concentration camps. You notice I skip over German. When you go to Germany now, the German people, the government, will not refer to this time as anything in regards to German. It's everything Nazi to differentiate. So, but Auschwitz was the largest Nazi concentration camp and death camp. Between 1940, when Auschwitz-Birkenau was completed, to 1945, when the Soviets liberated the camps, the Nazis deported 1.3 million people to Auschwitz. 1.1 million were Jews, 140,000 to 150,000 were Poles, the Roma, 23,000, 15,000 Soviet prisoners of war. For those of you not familiar, it was the Soviet Union at that time, which now, of course, would be the Russian Federation and all these satellite countries that were part of the Soviet Union, and 25,000 prisoners from other ethnic groups. 1.1 million of these people died in Auschwitz, and 90% were Jews. Okay. And most were murdered in the gas chambers, so some were shot, and we'll look at that in a second. Okay. Here's a picture of a picture. These were people coming in. These young children, more likely than not, would be immediately killed. An older person, more likely than not, would be immediately killed. And then, of course, usually the Nazis would pick someone between 12 and 50 if they looked healthy to do slave labor. In June 1940, the Polish people began deportation, and you can see the numbers here of Polish prisoners sent to Auschwitz. Half of these people perished. In 1941, prisoners of various nationalities. The Nazis hated the Slavs, the Slavish people. Those would be people from the Balkan areas, the old Yugoslavia. Okay. In summer 41, 15,000 Soviet prisoners of war. Again, now we would call it Russia and the satellite countries. Most died. At 42, 1.1 million Jews, they began the deportation into Auschwitz. And it was a death camp and concentration camp. And about 1 million of these people were killed at Auschwitz and Birkenau, and mainly in the gas chambers. And we'll be looking at that in a second. February 43, Roma, Gypsies, 21,000 perished. Roma are still very prevalent. They are an ethnic peoples of Europe, and they're still very much alive in Europe, though of course somewhat decimated because of the Holocaust. So again, Nazis were not kind. These are people that are leaving Amsterdam. You notice the Star of David on their coats. In Holland, they had to wear the Star of David. In certain countries, they did not do that, but most of the time they were required to wear the Star of David, which identified them as being Jewish. Okay, and this is 1942. Okay, now what happened was when the Jewish people arrived in Auschwitz, there was a special railway ramp at Birkenau. We'll look at that in a second. And this unloading ramp, women and children were separated from men, and SS doctors carried out the selection. If anyone was considered fit for work, they were directed to the camp. Okay. If not, that was 1 out of every 4. The age, if you looked healthy or not, that would be the determination. Okay. If it was decided you would not be slave labor, then immediately the people were sent to the gas chambers. And again, to get these people to the gas chambers, the Nazis said that, oh, we're just giving you a shower, a bath, to disinfect you. Okay. They mainly blamed lice. And at that time, hair lice was an issue, especially the way they would transport it. Okay. Right here, this is Joseph Mengele. He is the doctor that did all the experimentation, everything from um, uh, weird reproductive surgeries on women to taking skin and making lampshades out of it. I'm not kidding. To whatever horrors he could think of. Now, I want to say something here. Some of you are saying, how could this happen? Well, this is not the only place that this happened or is happening. There are genocides still going on in the world, and there have been genocides before. Before anything like this can happen, what happens is the people that are involved have to be dehumanized. And which means that, oh, we're doing this because they're not human. They're less than human. And in the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, you'll see the propaganda of, of turning people into roaches, turning people into something less than being human. And this is a common theme throughout genocide. Okay? But Joseph Mengele looked at these people as not people. This is after the selection process. You'll see luggage, okay? And we'll take a little closer look at that as far as, because the people were separated from their belongings. This is a nice map. Here's Auschwitz or Auschwitz. Here is Birkenau right over here, very close by. It's about a mile, I would say. And this is the killing camp. We are going to look at Birkenau, and this is Auschwitz, another concentration camp. Okay. Now, again, in the gas chambers, there were dummy showers. They were fixed to the ceiling. There were plenty of dogs to move them along. 2,000 victims were crammed into 210 square meters. Okay, so calculating it out would be about 650 square feet. Okay, and the chamber door was locked, and Zyklon B gas was poured. After 15 to 20 minutes, the chamber was open. Corpses were stripped of gold teeth, hair. The women were saved. Earrings, rings, anything of value, and then were transported to the crematorium. And all personal documents were destroyed. Now, also, while I was at Auschwitz, there was a discussion by the guide, Polish, very respectful, very nicely done. But the guy, she was saying actually there were some autopsies done as well to see if there were diamonds that were swallowed. These are the crematoria where the bodies were burned. And this is a picture again. We were not allowed to take a a picture themselves. Okay? But the bodies were taken after everything was done and thrown into the crematorium. This is actually Zyklon B gas, and these are the canisters. For some reason, the Nazis love to save the canisters. There are thousands of them. Don't ask me. This is the luggage. And people would go through it, the Nazis would go through it to look for any valuables, because the valuables were in there. The people took their valuables. They didn't leave them in a safe deposit box. They took them and put them in the luggage. And of course, these people were supervised by higher level Nazis to make sure they weren't taking anything. The other evening, I was watching a picture. It was on, I think, YouTube. The Woman in Gold. It's a Helen Mirren picture. And it's about the confiscation of this very famous painting by the Nazis. The Nazis kept all prosthetic devices from people who were disabled. If you were disabled, that was it. They immediately sent you to the gas station. But for some reason, they like keeping these things. One of the things the Nazis told everyone to do, again, if any of you join me for our book chat on Wednesday during Legal Studies Club, the Nazis preached mendacity. Mendacity is lying. And they would lie to the prisoners that were coming in. Make sure you put your name and or where you are, so when you leave, you come back to your luggage. Right. Here, Clara Sarah Frockman, Wayne, which is Vienna, and she's actually giving them the district of where she came from. The Nazis like to keep shoes from the prisoners. Don't ask me why. And razor brushes. Though this is old school, and toothbrushes as well. There's an entire room filled with razor brushes. They also kept hair. And the shaved heads. We were not allowed to take a picture of that, nor were there pictures of it. This is one of the torture blocks. In this particular block, there's a story. This woman, Jewish woman, was going to be tortured, and the way she was going to be tortured was the Nazis had like a shower stall size. And you had to stand there for days on end with nothing. And usually people died. The story goes that a Catholic priest heard about this, and he volunteered, I will take her place. Just put me in and let her go. They did, the Nazis did. And he perished, but she was let go. And you're saying, Catholic, wait, what happened? Well, the Nazis were not very happy about the Christian faith either. They felt they wanted a Nazi religion. And in fact, the swastika, the counterclockwise swastika, was their religious emblem. These were the barracks, and you'll be hearing from our survivors that come, but it wasn't just one person per area. There are 4 or 5 in these areas. And the lice was, because people didn't have access to bathing, so the lice were prevalent, and that spread typhus, and typhus was if you weren't gassed, usually people died from typhus. These are men that were shot. The Nazis would take their clothes. They would have them undressed before they went out to the firing wall, which we'll look at in a second, and the clothes were left here to be reused, of course. This is one of the walkways to the firing wall. Again, during World War II, no trees, no grass. And there's a story. This Holocaust survivor's daughter went to Auschwitz-Birkenau. And the daughter came back and said, "Oh, it's so nice. You had trees, you had grass." And the Holocaust survivor, her mother, said, "If we had had trees or grass, we would have eaten it." This was all mud. This was the firing wall. Many of the men were taken back here, lined up, and shot to death. And so this was, and this, of course, these are offerings of for this area. Number 10. This is Joseph Mengele's Prague. If you were to enter this Prague, you were basically set to torture. Because Joseph Mengele would do whatever he wanted, and whatever crazy idea that he had as far as experimentation. But this was Joseph Mengele's Prague. Again, just a view of this. This tour was part of a WGCU, our public broadcasting station, and one of the fellow people on tour wanted to take a picture of me. So I was not very happy about it, you can tell, but I gave in. I said, "Okay, fine, at least you know it's me. I had a longer hair then." But anyways, I was not happy about having my picture taken. Again, another view of the walkways. And again, remember, guards, dogs, barking, trying to attack. Very bad. This is the entrance to Birkenau. We have left Auschwitz. Birkenau was the killing camp, and this was the railway entrance into Birkenau. Okay. The Nazis took this over in 1940. There were fields, parking lots, and they built Birkenau right over it. The German occupants expelled the Poles and all the inhabitants of the villages. And what they did is the Nazis, the Germans are not happy with this one, founded the death camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau. Okay. And anything that was there, they demolished and destroyed it. Okay. This is the outside of Birkenau. Again, the fences, the guard towers, and back here, this is a part of the crematorium. Okay. After getting off the train, the Jewish people were ordered to line up into 2 columns, 1 women, children, other men, a selection, blah, 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 blah. We talked about that already, but then this is actually the entrance. Again, the watchtowers. These are areas where the gas chambers were. They were destroyed. A lot of them by the Nazis when the Soviets came in to liberate. They tried to cover up their crimes. This was the bathroom. And the prisoners, and this is the actual wall inside of Birkenau. You'll notice something. No insulation, nothing, no sheets. And these were just slats, and there was wind came in, cold came in, and remember, as I said earlier, the Polish winters are brutal. But this is the clean. People had a few seconds to use it each day. And all this did was go to the ground underneath, and there actually would be prisoners that would clean it. And the guard told us that those prisoners that cleaned underneath there, nobody wanted to know. Even the Nazis didn't want to go near them. These are chimneys from the crematoriums. The crematoriums, remember, were destroyed before the Soviets came. The Nazis were trying to cover their crimes. So it's interesting when we, on Wednesday, if you join the book chat, about the Nuremberg trials, about, oh, I didn't know about it. Right. Okay. So that is there. Professor Bianco, I do have a few pictures on Krakow. Do you want to take questions now, or what would you like to do?
Sure. We haven't had any questions come in quite yet, but yes. If anyone has any questions for Dr. Sandi Towers, please enter them into the chat, and we can certainly get those answered live.
Wonderful. Professor Bianco, I'm going to stop the share and get back to the Krakow pictures, and I can pop it up again, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Sorry, guys. I know Zoom, but YouTube Live is this is Zoom. Okay, let me get back to let me get back here. Oh, let me get back to here. And let me get back to Krakow. Okay, now let me get back to here. There we are. And, ooh, how do I get back into full screen? Uh-oh. Ah, there we are. Ha! All right. All right. Okay. Professor Bianco, can you see this?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, lovely. All right, everyone, this is Krakow today. Now, let me tell you a little story about Krakow, Poland. It is a beautiful city. It is a city that was untouched. And there was a reason. The Nazis, during their 1,000-year Reich, okay, remember, the Nazis thought they would rule for 1,000 years, wanted Krakow as their capital. So Krakow was untouched. So as such, unlike Dresden, which is now beautiful, but absolutely completely destroyed and literally built from the ground up. Krakow was untouched because the Nazis wanted it for their capital. This is a synagogue in Krakow, and there was a strong Jewish population in Poland prior to the Nazis, about 3 million strong. There are approximately 18,000 Jewish people living in Poland now. The Nazis decimated the Polish Jewish population. And now, for those of you who are unaware, we have President Duda as head of Poland. He is anti-Semitic and authoritarian. Hungary, Viktor Orban, he is also anti-Semitic and also very authoritarian. So they're both shutting down the media unless it's in favor of them, and we'll see where this goes. A Holocaust memorial, empty chairs. In Warsaw, there is an amazing memorial, but not built by Poland, built by the Jewish community of Warsaw. Warsaw, of course, is the capital of Poland. But this is it. I have to say something. It beats Budapest, because their memorial are bronze shoes along the Danube, because that's where the Nazis were drawing Jewish people up to shoot them to fall into the Danube. And the people would take their shoes off, hoping they would survive and they could swim. These are pictures outside of Oskar Schindler's factory. He was instrumental in saving 1,300 Jewish people. And what he did, if anyone has seen Schindler's List, and if you haven't, I strongly suggest you watch it. It's very long, but poignant. And Oskar Schindler, he originally was making ceramic pots. Now, what that means is, at one time, iron pots were coated with ceramic, and that's what he did. He convinced the Nazis, hey, I'll make armaments. And when you read The Architects of Genocide for Wednesday, you'll see where this comes into play. And he convinced the Nazis, hey, I'll make armaments for you and let me have some slave labor, and it'll be a win-win for everyone. Interesting enough, Oskar Schindler had these people, they were working, and as you'll see in Schindler's List, some of them were not perhaps capable of working, but he still saved them if possible. And he made really crummy armaments for the Nazis. This is, believe it or not, a relative of mine. And she was saved by Oskar Schindler. So anyways, just I cried when I saw this. Another picture. This is a testament to Oskar Schindler. Whoever saves one life saves the world entire. And of course, he passed away in 1974. Another plaque to Oskar Schindler. In Jerusalem, the Israelis have planted a tree, and he has been deemed a righteous person. And that means someone who has come to the aid of the Jewish people. And this is actually the outside of the factory, as it was and as it is now. And we are back to our beginnings. Okay. I thank you, everyone. Any questions about anything?
definitely place them in the chat, and I will voice them aloud to Dr. Towers. That way your voice can be heard.
Okay. Do I just speak? Okay.
Yeah, once I see them come in, or I know you're kind of looking at your YouTube live.
Okay.
And you'll see any questions that come into the chat there as well.
I will. Should I stop sharing?
Sure.
Okay. I don't see any chats yet. Yeah, I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
And whoever is out there, did you enjoy it? Did you find it a learning experience?
I did. I found, some new facts that I didn't know from before, from your presentation.
Yeah.
I think it puts it into a good perspective, seeing some of the, pictures from very recent times compared to the historical images. I thought that it was really interesting seeing Schindler's factory, especially as it exists today. So, although it was a fun traveling experience for you, I know it was also probably a large learning experience for you as well.
Yes, because that particular trip started in Berlin, and from Berlin we went to Prague, another beautiful city. And in fact, we'll find out on Wednesday that the way, and at that time it was Czechoslovakia, now it's Czech Republic, and of course the Balkans. And Slovakia is a separate country. But Hitler said to the president of Czechoslovakia at the time that you wouldn't want to see Prague bombed, would you? That would have been horrible. Prague is amazing. So anyway, we went from Berlin to Prague, Prague to Vienna, Vienna, Budapest, Budapest to Slovakia, Slovakia into Poland. And we went Krakow, Auschwitz-Birkenau, Warsaw. So.
And we do have a question within the chat now. And it says, in Schindler's factory, they manufactured faulty bullets for war, correct?
Yes. I remember I said they gave funky armaments. Yes. And again, his whole idea, and you'll see this in the movie, was to save these people. And he basically protesting the Nazis did not want the armaments to be functional. So yeah, he made funky armaments. But he was way up there. You'll see in the movie, he was way up there in influence with the Nazis. So, did that answer your question? Okay. Oh, okay, that's that. Okay.
I think that answered the question because, I know you had said armaments, but, I think that could be misinterpreted as armor or, maybe other types of implements for battle.
Yeah, he just wherever he was assigned, he made it so he tried to make it not work. Yeah, he was getting funding from the Nazis.
Any other questions? That one was excellent.
Yes, thank you. And it's amazing. I'm going to make this comment about Europe in general. The authoritarianism that's occurring in many countries. and we say anti-Semitism, but if any of you have been in my classes, my cornerstone classes, please remember the Semitic religions are Christianity, yes, Islam, and Judaism, because they all trace their roots back to Abraham, and that makes them all Semitic. And in that Architects of Genocide, Chapter 1, that we're looking at on Wednesday, is one of the points that were made that the Nazis didn't even deal with Islam because they didn't have that influence, but they would have if they had gotten down into Northern Africa. But definitely Christianity was on their radar. And of course, as were the Jewish people. Oh, and that's one of the places we did go to Potsdam on this trip, and that's where the final solution occurred. Was dreamed up to.
And the same viewer has asked 2 additional questions and or a follow-up comment.
Oh, okay.
And he said, and Krakow was left untouched because the Nazis wanted it for their capital. And I did not know the Nazis tried to get rid of any evidence of what they were doing.
Oh.
I also think I remember something about Nazi doctors doing trials on people too.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Krakow was left. They wanted it as their capital, and it's a beautiful city. And yes, Blake, they tried. The Nazis knew the Soviets were coming, and they tried desperately to get rid of as much evidence of what they were doing as possible. Of course, they had hundreds of camps. Auschwitz-Birkenau is just one of the more famous ones, but they had Dachau, they had all camps all over Germany, smaller ones, and all throughout. These were the most famous in Poland. But yes, they absolutely did try to get rid of what they were doing. And then also, Blake, and whomever is watching and participating, the Nazis actually tried to infiltrate the financial system of the world because they had counterfeiters that were attempting to counterfeit US currency. And by doing so, they would flood the currency markets with counterfeit US money, and that would collapse the financial system of the West. So they definitely had a plan, and they were planning to try to do as much damage as possible. Did that answer your question?
And speaking on the Nazi doctors, that's how we know such detailed information about hyperthermia,
Yes.
from Nazi experimentation, as well as, other really bad
Yes.
things that can be done to humans.
Yes. Reproductive aspects. The poor women that were being brought in were taken apart, and weird experiments about, especially and Mengele loved twins. If you were a twin, he would love you because you had the same genetic material as your twin. So he could do experiments on one, see how it works or not, and then have the other as the placebo. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You're right, but they did everything. He loved twins. If you were a twin coming into the camp, you would immediately go to Mengele. Yep, he just loved it.
Are there any additional questions out there or comments on Dr. Towers' presentation? I know we still have 10 minutes left, so, you know, we certainly have her as a resource for 10 more minutes.
Yes. Let me say in Germany, again, the German government always now will differentiate Nazis from German. And at one time, this was not the case, but now everything is Nazi, not German. Okay. When I went to Prague, I went to the Jewish quarter of Prague, and even before the Nazis, the Jewish people were kept in one area, and for hundreds of years, and the cemeteries they have to start going upwards, so they're maybe 100 feet tall now, the cemeteries, because they couldn't bury outside of their quarter. And there are names up of those who were lost in the Holocaust, and there were many people lost in the Holocaust. In Vienna, again, memorials to the Holocaust. Remember, Austria was one of the first places, as was Czechoslovakia, the first places that Hitler came to take over, without any bullets fired. It was all threat, bluff and bluster. Hungary, I remember our guide, because we went to Fisherman's Bastion, the castle. It looks over the Danube in Budapest. And the guide said, she was complaining, she was Hungarian. You know what? When we were with the Nazis, the Allies bombed us. Then when we joined the Allies, the Nazis bombed us. What can I say, ladies? But the Hungarians welcomed the Nazis with open arms. This has been the case all along. And then Slovakia at the time was part of the Czech Republic, so it was the same. And Poland always had an anti-Semitic bent to it, as did the Soviet Union. And we have to say 2.5 million Soviet Jews were killed during World War II. So it was not only the Poles, because there were a little over 2.5 million Jewish people in the Soviet Union. Now there are 190,000. Also killed during the Holocaust, and many emigrated. Right now, for your information, there are approximately 8 to 9 million Jewish people in Israel, and there are approximately 7 to 8 million Jewish people in the United States. The rest are scattered worldwide. The total worldwide population of the Jewish people is 16 million. 16 million, as compared to 2 billion Christians and 2 billion who follow Islam. So the Jewish population, and 16 million was the population prior to the Holocaust. It's just recently that the Jewish people got back to where their population was prior to the Holocaust. Okay. So anyway, but there's been always persecution throughout time. I was in Spain 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And there, of course, that was one of the first places under King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella that evicted the Jewish population and the Islamic population as well, the Moors, and the Jewish people of Spain, of course, Sephardic, and there are only 18,000 Jewish people left that live now in Spain. Most immigrated to other countries, including Morocco. Morocco has an open door policy, and even Turkey had an open door policy under the Sultan. But Morocco is very famous for allowing Jewish people to come in. Of course, when the Nazis took Morocco over, when it was French Morocco, of course, we know the consequences of that. But this has been ongoing, and I think, I hope I can speak for all of us, Professor Bianco, is that our goal during Holocaust Memorial Week is so that this never happens again, and that people do not forget what has happened and is happening now. Okay, we do have guest speakers on Rwanda. We also have other guest speakers on other genocides as well, because there have been others than this one.
And that's absolutely correct. And if you're interested in seeing another presentation about a more modern day genocide on Thursday, the 25th of this week at 9:30 a.m., we have Buntia Kio speaking, and he's actually a survivor of one of the more modern genocides between Cambodia and Darfur. So, we, of course, as the Dr. Talbot Spivak Holocaust Memorial Week Committee, we hope that in watching and participating within these events that it will encourage you not to let this happen again through your civic engagement and your decisions as a worldwide or a global citizen.
Exactly.
Well, with that, let's see. Are there any other questions for today? If not, I think we will sign off from this session and hope to see more interaction and more engagement tomorrow as our week's events go on. Tomorrow we have 4 Holocaust survivor presentations, and we also have an on-campus presentation by Dr. Mark Herman at 11:30 at the Rush Auditorium on the Lee campus of Florida Southwestern State College in J103. All of the survivor presentations will be held virtually here on YouTube Live. So hopefully you can get in. I was fortunate enough to hear all of the stories from these presenters in November when we held our Kristallnacht Remembrance series of events, and their stories are just, very important, and we're so happy to have them still to share their stories.
Because it's been 75, well, actually now 76 years.
Exactly. So thank you, everyone. And all of these events will be here recorded on YouTube and available through the schedule of events online for access in the future. If you missed it, and if you have the opportunity, do try to join in on one of our live events. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention.